Hello dear learners, welcome to the third edition of our online classes. I am your very good and God bless you. Today we shall see a new topic, which is the economic life in Cameroon. And under this topic we shall be examining the sources of income in Cameroon. We shall equally be examining the different zones or the different countries that belong to Cameroon under the CEMAC zone. And we shall equally examine the monetary organization that control financial issues here in Cameroon. So my dear students, before we get into this economic life, there are some terms in this topic which are based in economics and commerce, but it will be very, very primordial for us to equally examine those terms so as to enhance our understanding of this topic. We shall look at production, distribution, consumption, economic growth, and economic development. So my dear students, at the end of this topic, we should be able to assimilate and reproduce information that concerns economic life of Cameroon. So we shall look in another dimension the important economic notions and concepts, and we shall equally define them so as to enhance our understanding of the topic. Remain very attentive so as to follow up with understanding the economic life in Cameroon. Economy is undoubtedly the heartbeat of a country or a nation. Every country puts in place the mechanism of measuring the performance of its economy so as to ensure economic growth and development. Here we shall examine the economic notion such as production, distribution, consumption, economic growth, and economic development. We shall take into cognizance the banking sector in Cameroon, the activities of commercial banks and microfinancial institutions. That of Cameroon, we have BIAC, which controls the economic affairs in the Economic and Monetary Community of Central African States, CEMAC. So, my dear students, away from this, we shall look at the important economic notions and concepts. We are going to define them, and at the end we shall equally look at CEMAC, the constitution of CEMAC, the countries that belong to the CEMAC zone, and their various role played in the Economic and Monetary Community of Central African States. We are going to go straight away to the definition of concepts. And the first concept that we shall define here is production. Production, it is the creation or provision of goods and services to satisfy human wants. Economists regard it as the transformation of raw materials into finished goods. Production stages. This production has as stages extraction, manufacturing, distribution, and the consumption of goods. It is said to be complete when the finished product reaches the consumer. So my dear students, production from this slide is defined as the creation or the provision of goods and services to satisfy human wants. And economists regard it as the transformation of raw materials into finished goods. So we are going to look at the different stages of production, which are the extraction, manufacturing, distribution, and the consumption of goods produced. It should equally be worthy of note that there exists three factors of production, which are land, labor, and capital, with an optional one that is being added by economists, which is entrepreneur. So these are the three factors of production that are well known to economists. We shall proceed by looking at the distribution. The first concept that we've examined is production, and the next one we are going to examine shall be distribution. Production is the process of passing on a finished product from the manufacturer to the consumer. The retailer and the wholesaler are known to be the main actors in the production chain. The distribution of goods. How are goods distributed from the producer right up to the consumers? The producer manufactures goods which are bought in bulk by the wholesaler and later on sold to the retailer, who then distributes to the consumers in small and affordable prices. So at this juncture, my dear students, we've seen that following the economic notion and the concepts, production comes in first and the distribution second, and the third point under this economic notion is consumption. We shall examine consumption immediately after this distribution. Consumption. Consumption on its own, it is the use of resources to satisfy human wants. Goods and services must be used up or consumed. The level of consumption depends on the level of income of consumers. The higher the income of consumers, the higher the level of consumption, and vice versa. So my dear students, at this juncture, consumption is the use of resources to satisfy human wants. Goods and services must be used up or consumed. And we are being told that the level of consumption is determined by the income of consumers. If the income of consumers is high, the level of consumption will be high, and vice versa. The next economic notion and concept is exchange. Exchange. When we talk of exchange, what do we mean? Exchange involves the settling of accounts. It can also be defined as the buying and selling of goods. That is when goods and services change hands. We say exchange has taken place. The oldest means of exchange was trade by barter. So my dear students, exchange, as we've all heard, involves the settling of accounts. It can also be the buying and selling of goods. When goods and services change hands, we can say exchange has taken place. The last but not the least economic notion that we are going to examine is money. What is money? Money is defined as a legal tender that is accepted by all as a medium of exchange. Money, as we all know, is a medium of exchange, generally accepted in the settlement of debts and payments made for goods and services. So my dear students, in a nutshell, these are some of the economic notions that we are all expected to have a mastery of before getting into this topic proper, the economic life in Cameroon. Because in the course of this topic, we shall be using these terms, and it is not good that in the course of the topic we start using the terms and we are lost. It's good that we should be in line with the teacher. That's the essence for which I am reiterating on these economic notions and concepts. So, in a nutshell, the class for today was just for these economic notions and concepts. In our next class, we shall be examining the banking sector of Cameroon proper. That we shall look at microfinancial institutions in Cameroon. We shall take BEAC, which is our case study. BEAC, which is the microfinancial institution that handle financial issues in economic and monetary zone of Central African states. Thank you, my dear students, for being very attentive in the course of the lesson. I hope you understood the different economic notions and the concepts and definitions. As I said, it is to enhance what we shall be examining in our subsequent lesson. So this was the end of the class. Remain blessed. Bye-bye.